Welcome to day one of the 7-day reset. If this is your first time here, let me briefly orient you. The 7-day reset is a structured process designed to help you regain clarity and direction. Each day builds on the one before it, which means the sequence matters. If you have not watched the overview, I recommend starting there so you understand how the full framework works together. With that context in place, today is about collapse. And before that word creates the wrong picture, let's define it clearly. Collapse is not a dramatic falling apart. It is not chaos or crisis. Instead, it is the quiet moment you recognize that something is no longer aligned. In other words, collapse is awareness. It might look like a routine that is no longer producing results, a pattern in a relationship that keeps repeating, a strategy at work that once worked but now creates friction. What carried you before is no longer carrying you forward. That recognition is where this reset begins. So today is not about fixing anything. It is not about defending, blaming, or reacting. It is about identifying what is no longer working and naming it clearly. Because before you can realign, you must first see what has drifted. And that is the work of day one. You're functioning on the outside, but internally there's friction. You're tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. So here is the day one key question. What am I tired of pretending is working? Not what sounds acceptable, but what you are personally tired of minimizing. You are observing your life honestly. That means you are looking at what is happening without exaggerating it and without minimizing it. There is a difference between seeing clearly and self condemnation. Seeing clearly is objective, it is descriptive. It sounds like this routine is not producing results, or this conversation pattern keeps repeating. It focuses on what is happening. Self condemnation, on the other hand, sounds like I always mess this up or I'm the problem. It turns observation into identity. That being said, day one is not about labeling yourself. It is about identifying what is not working. You are assessing systems, patterns, and behaviors, not judging your worth. Clarity creates leverage. Condemnation creates paralysis. Today, your job is simple. Observe. Name what is misaligned. Separate facts from conclusions. That is how collapse becomes constructive instead of destructive. So, here is your action step. Take a notebook and write for 10 minutes on that question. No editing, just the truth. And why 10 minutes? Because the first few minutes will likely produce surface answers. That is normal. Those are the explanations you already know. If you keep writing, something shifts. You move past the rehearsed response and into what is actually underneath. That is where clarity begins. 10 minutes is long enough to reach that layer, but short enough to stay focused. You are not writing an essay. You are creating awareness. Once you complete your 10 minutes of writing, day one is complete. At that point, you will have clearly identified what is no longer working and written it down without distortion. That is the objective. You do not need to fix anything yet. You only need to see it. When you can see it clearly, you are ready for what comes next. And with that, I will see you in the next video.